We can fix that. Just have to have Daniel fix it because he's tallest. Not Felicia. Can you at least touch the bottom of the block?
No.
You can do it.
We want to move the clock?
Yeah, we'll fix it to the correct time. Not now, obviously.
It's late now, you got 2 minutes. I can make it happen in 2 minutes.
We'll do it after the meeting.
You ready? It's freaking happening. You got 1 minute technically according to my watch.
Doing sign language.
I don't know why it freaks me out. Where's he going?
Welcome to the September 20th City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Our first item is our invocation and our pledge allegiance to the flag, which will be led by our City Attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we come humbly before you to ask for divine guidance and help in our deliberations this evening. Bless the members of this council and the citizens that are present. We pray that our work this evening will find favor in your sight. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Before we get started, I'd like to make an announcement. Please refrain from any personal attacks towards any city charter official, city employee, or council member. We are all a team of one. We are all working together to improve our city. Please direct all your comments to me, the mayor, and with that, I'm going to open up the Oldsmar Citizens Open Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject. If you want to speak on items 2, 12, and 13, please wait for that item. They are public hearings. You can speak at that time. Please state your name and address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30 p.m. So let's get this meeting started. Anybody on this side of the room would like to speak to the city council? None of those officers? You don't want to say anything? All right. Vince? Nothing? All right, anybody on this side of the room? Come on up.
In Canada, I would say thank you, your worship. That is the proper terminology for a mayor. I lived there for 20 years, and that's when I started volunteering with the Red Cross. My name is Ella Landagger, and I am the chair of the American Red Cross based here in Tampa Bay. So my address for this purpose would be 3310 Main Street, West Main Street, Tampa, or the address in St. Pete. Thank you very much for asking us to come in and talk to you just a little bit to remind you, I'm sure everyone here has heard of the Red Cross. Yes? All right. What we are best known for is responding to disasters. But I also wanted to just remind you of other things that we do. For example, our service to the armed forces. We work with veterans as well as active members of the armed forces. Every member who joins the armed forces also fills out a piece of paper that lets you know who their next of kin is, that if there is an emergency that someone needs to be flown back and forth, it's the Red Cross that helps coordinate that. We also work with MacDill Air Force Base, Patrick Space Force Base, as well as, I think it's 8 different VA hospitals, nursing homes, 12 of them, and so on, all throughout Central Florida. So we do a lot of work with our military. We also do a lot of training, as I mentioned, a few of you overheard. I did a CPR training. That is something we do extensively. We also offer a free hands-only CPR. So if you have some government groups or chamber or Rotary or anything like that within the town, and you would like to have them do a free hands-only CPR, also known as citizen CPR, please give us a call. You have my number, you have my email, and we would be happy to arrange that for you. We also do a lot of work in the youth area. We work with different high schools. We have a very large university here in Tampa at USF. We have a very large Red Cross club there because we're trying to make sure we have the next generation to be around. As you know, we do blood services. We don't draw blood actually in most of Florida, but we do provide 40% of the nation's blood. So we do a lot of work in the biomed area. Internationally, we also work in international humanitarian law. We uphold the Geneva Conventions. And also when people are displaced, we help reconnect family links. And that's actually something my grandmother did during World War II in Palestine, reconnecting Polish people who'd gone to Siberia, like herself, and reconnecting them with other family members as they tried to find them. So that's something we've done forever. But we are here in the community, and most recently, Idalia. We had set up a shelter in St. Pete. We were thinking about doing another one up county, but we ended up not needing it. It just closed down today. But it was also being used as a service center. If there is anyone that you know of that had extensive damage to their home because of the flooding that happened after the storm, please have them call 1-800-RED Cross. And they register through that, and then we follow up with people who are in vests and who have ID that would let you know that they are with the Red Cross. Please make sure that they verify who they are talking to about the Red Cross. They should not be photographing their IDs or anything like that. I'm mentioning it because I've heard of some stories that were not so good. So that's why I want to let you know that. We provided however many thousand meals. We were there. We pre-positioned everybody ahead of the storm. We have still been very fortunately spared, but you never know when it's going to be our turn. So if you have, again, groups that would like to be prepared for hurricanes, we'll come in and we'll talk about what you need to do with that. And then the number one thing we do, because we do this every 8 minutes, we're there for people who lose their home in a fire. And we help them because the firefighters are there for the home. We're there for the individuals when we're serving humanity. And that's the main reason why we're out there on the streets very regularly, helping those people in the aftermath of something horrible, which also happened to me. So I know of what I speak. At 5 a.m, there was this Red Cross volunteer. I'm here to offer you comfort and shelter if you need it. And so that's what we're there for. So just want to remind you about that. If you have any kind of needs within the community, groups that you'd like us to address, please keep us in mind. We're always here to help you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming
Thank you,
and
Your
giving us an
Worship.
update. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I apologize, I'm going to leave your meeting. Oldsmar is awesome. I'm here every Wednesday morning for Toastmasters in your library. Great town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side of the room would like to speak to the council? Come on up.
Dave McDonald, 124 Shore Drive Place. I swear I paid those tickets. Mayor Siraki, want to talk on item 20. I'm kind of surprised that it's on the agenda again. This council voted to approve the ex-mayor's legal fees and outside counsel when he had allegations of breaking the law, of sunshine law. This council approved to do that, but I guess they just have objections against you. Seems to be a political target of you because they have always approved to pay their own legal fees of my case against them, which they alleged broke the law. I want to know did you get a copy of the 41-page rebuttal to the case to have it thrown out? I know you got a copy of the case when it was filed, but did you get a copy of the 41-page rebuttal saying it wasn't right? It seems that'd be pertinent. So I don't know if you know, September 8th, last Friday, there was a State Ethics Commission meeting where Andrew Knapp was being reviewed about a plausible cause of that he broke the ethics violation by not taking the course in 2020. They did find plausible cause that Andrew Knapp was dishonest on his financial form where he certified he took a course in 2020. It's a really pertinent thing because it's bold printed in all capitalized letters. But it's surprising to me because I did a public records request last fall asking for all of your documentation when you took ethics classes in 2020 and 21. And Andrew Knapp didn't give me the email that he gave to the Commission of Ethics about when he took the class on February 1st, 2021, stating, I finally took the class in 21. Do I need to amend my 2020 certification? I didn't get that email when I did a public records request. So is that the same thing you did, Mayor Siraki? That you didn't give somebody an email or you didn't give somebody a slide? Because I feel that might be a case for me to Andrew Knapp, because all he put was, I can't find it on my Google Calendar. And if Ann Nixon didn't provide that to me, that seems a little funny. So maybe I have a case similar to yours against maybe one of your other council members. I hope that you or Councilmember Buckman have the nerve to ask the city attorney, if they bring this up to a vote tonight, to limit your defense or not pay your defense, why is they could have their defenses paid and you not have yours paid? Seems like, again, political targeting. And I will be researching the public records request thing because I don't think I got it. I'll review my records, but I'm pretty sure I didn't get that email that's in the Ethics Commission report. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council? Come on up. Feel like a punching bag today. Let's keep it going.
Carla Nasi, 374 Ventura Drive, Oldsmar, Florida. I really didn't intend to speak tonight, but you specifically asked not to have anyone on council or charter members or staff attacked, and yet they were. So what I didn't hear was anything about campaign finance violation. I didn't hear anything about the ethics violation. I didn't hear anything about the public records violation that were all part of yours. So until we want to stand up and be equally represented and equally prosecuted, I don't want to see a flashlight. I'll put a spotlight on it.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the council? Or me? With that, I'm going to close the Oldsmar Citizens Open Forum. Next item on our agenda is the community minute, which will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Community workshops. Community Visioning Workshop will be held on Wednesday, October 4th at 6 p.m. at the State Street Center. Be a part of a pivotal event with your chance to give input to shape the future of our city and play a role in defining Oldsmar's path forward. Participants will revisit the city's 2013 mission and vision statements and give input to City Council as they look to create the city's next priorities. RSVP is requested. Public Information Workshop will be held Thursday, October 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Tico Hall and the library. Meet city representatives for a discussion and workshop on the inclusion of a roundabout at St. Petersburg Drive and Bayview Boulevard. Additional discussions will include project impacts, streetscaping, underground utilities, stormwater pipe replacements, and more. Vulnerability Assessment Workshop on Saturday, October 21st, 10:30 to 11:30 at State Street Center. Do you want to learn about how future climate and weather events will affect the city and help staff decide how to prepare for them? This is your chance to let the city know what is important to you and weigh in on the projects that will help protect Oldsmar. And lastly, apply to serve on the Public Art Task Force. The city is seeking interested residents and businesses to serve on its Public Art Task Force. This working group will be a year-long commitment with monthly meetings. Applications are due Monday, October 9th, and are available online. And that's it.
Thank you very much for that. Next item is approval of additional new agenda items, 11, 16, 17, and 20. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the presentation of the Council Manager Award, which will be handled by our Vice Mayor, Andrew Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending this evening. Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to present the Council Manager Award this evening. Tonight's recipient is a pillar of our community, always on the lookout for our citizens' safety as well as their good behavior. They have been recognized by several other local organizations, including being named Oldsmar Citizen of the Year by the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. This evening, we recognize Deputy Eddie Martinez with the Council Manager Award for September of 2023. Deputy Martinez was born and raised in the inner city of Chicago and relocated to Florida to attend the University of South Florida, go Bulls. Deputy Martinez graduated from USF with a bachelor's degree in criminology. After graduation, he moved back to Chicago to be with his family. Speaking of family, Deputy Martinez has been married to his wife Tisha for 9 years. He's a father of 3 beautiful girls, Mia, Ava, and Lila. We are lucky to have a family man in a community where families are so well represented. In 2013, Deputy Martinez began his career as Pinellas County Sheriff at the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. He was sponsored as a cadet to attend the police academy at St. Petersburg College. Deputy Martinez graduated from SPC and was assigned to the patrol division until he was assigned to the community policing unit. Deputy Martinez first served as a community policing deputy in the city of Dunedin, and then he was transferred to the city of Oldsmar. He is responsible for patrolling the city of Oldsmar while targeting areas throughout the county to reduce crime and promote safer communities. Deputy Martinez has built relationships with the citizens of Oldsmar and has been proactive in identifying criminal-related issues. He has been successful in making resolutions to those issues to ensure the safety and well-being of citizens. In addition to his regular duties, he recently spent time in the comfort of the Emergency Operations Center during Hurricane Idalia. As lucky as our community was to have avoided significant devastation, Deputy Martinez was ready to get out and help our residents as soon as the EOC was permitted to deploy after the storm had passed. Not every shift is easygoing in law enforcement. Deputy Martinez has shown he is willing to put his life on the line for others, no matter their age or circumstances of the situation. Even when a call doesn't turn out the best, Deputy Martinez has been an enduring presence for our community. For this, Oldsmar is grateful to have such an individual dedicated to our preservation of our safety. Deputy Martinez's involvement in Oldsmar goes well beyond what he's required to perform as an officer. Not only has Deputy Martinez been an inspiration to his fellow brothers and sisters, but also to the community he serves. He's provided numerous holiday meals and presents to those less fortunate and to those who call Oldsmar their home. I must give personal thanks to our August 2016 Council Manager Award recipient who assisted me with the content for this presentation. She wanted to pass along these words, and I see she didn't quite make it here tonight. Congratulations, Eddie, on your well-deserved recognition. It's nice to see all your hard work and dedication being acknowledged. Your former partner, Cindy Cacalow. It is my honor to recognize Deputy Eddie Martinez. Please join me in showing our appreciation for all that he does within and beyond Oldsmar.
Thank you. I'm honored. It's definitely a team effort, though. To patrol deputies, to my counterparts in supervision, and obviously a great working relationship with the city manager, city council, and the city staff. So I just say thank you so much. I'm very honored.
Picture.
Sorry, I know you are smiling good there. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yes, everybody.
gun. Look at him first. Go ahead. All right.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Great job. Wonderful job. Thank you so much. Next item on our agenda is the Community Redevelopment Agency. Jared Buckman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Disclosing my house is in the primary, my primary residence is located within the CRA. I filed my Form 8B with the clerk this afternoon.
Thank you. Item 2, public hearing. Felicia Donnelly, our city manager, would you like to handle that, please?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a public hearing to adopt resolution 2023-21, adoption of the Community Redevelopment Agency budget for fiscal year 23-24. The City of Oldsmar's proposed budget, which includes a Community Redevelopment Agency fund, was reviewed by the City Council and discussed during budget workshops on May 23rd, 2023 and August the 8th, 2023. The proposed budget incorporates a millage rate of 4.05 mils per resolution 2023-16, which was adopted by the City Council on September 5th, 2023. The proposed CRA expenditures for fiscal year 23-24 total $2,238,585 and are consistent with the City of Oldsmar's tentative fiscal year 23-24 budget. Exhibit A of the resolution 2023-21 details the planned revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 23-24. I'll read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 2023-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, acting as a Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, approving the CRA budget for 2023-2024 fiscal year and providing for an effective date hereof. Whereas it is necessary for the CRA to estimate the necessary revenue to meet the obligations and expenses of the CRA. And whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, acting as a Community Redevelopment Agency, has reviewed the proposed budget for the CRA for fiscal year 23-24 that is included as part of the final budget of the City of Oldsmar. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, acting as a Community Redevelopment Agency in session duly and regularly assembled. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, acting as the Community Redevelopment Agency, hereby approves and adopts the Community Redevelopment Agency budget for 2023-2024 fiscal year attached hereto as Exhibit A. Section 2, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its passage and adoption.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. I am going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak against or for this item? Please come on up. No one? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, any other council discussion on this item? Roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilmember Graber.
Yes.
Councilmember Buckman.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp.
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-21, adoption of the Community Redevelopment Agency budget for fiscal year 23-24 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the consent docket. This will be read also by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Consent docket. Item 3, approve minutes of the September 5th, 2023 council meeting. Item 4, approve payment of August 2023 legal services to Bartlett, Loeb, Hens, and Thompson, PLLC, for BLHT for Eric Seidel's litigation defense. Item 5, approve payment to legal counsel for August 2023 legal services. Item 6, award fiber optic work associated with the potable water well field to Precision Contracting Services, Inc., per the Pasco County contract number IFB DS 23008. Item 7, approve work order number 1 of 2023-002 RFQ for Jones Edmonds and Associates, Inc. to prepare the concentrate injection well permit renewal application and mechanical integrity test. Item 8, approve renewal of general liability property workers' compensation insurance with the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent docket? Then I need a motion to approve. Second?
Second?
I have a motion, the second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is item number 9, the fiscal year 2023 Business Assistant Program presentation by the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Doug Beavis, 101 State Street West, Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, Director of Public Relations and Government Affairs. And you have in your packet the full report for the BAP, but for the millions of people watching at home, I want to kind of highlight some of the items that we have. I think this is the first time I've ever done a PowerPoint from here. I don't even know if I know how to do it. Or is that the pointer? Oh, let's see. Laser point, advance, there we go. So the first item that I'm going to talk about is something that we've talked about in the past, and that is our relationship with two of our nonprofits, or a nonprofit, two of our chamber members, the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association, whoops, and also Emerge 180, and that is with the ERC program. And Vince is here, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but so far we have assisted over 40 businesses and gotten them over $4 million, and that number continues to grow as the IRS continues to pay out funds. So that goes on for how much longer? A couple more years, I believe, till that. So we've still got quite a bit of money in the queue, including the Jolly Trolley for probably $650,000. So, and I say that, and I'll probably answer a question that you may have of that $4 million. How much of it is Oldsmar businesses? I don't have an answer for that, but I can probably get you that. But the important thing to know is that even if these businesses are outside of the city of Oldsmar, for instance, the Jolly Trolley, they pay a fee to Emerge 180 for their services that they collected. And then Oldsmar Neighborhood Association, correct me if I'm wrong, gets 25% of that fee. So even if they're outside of the city of Oldsmar, the city of Oldsmar still benefits by that money. None of these other ERC programs that you hear about do anything like that, and they're charging a much larger fee to do these services. So I think that is something that is great. The next item that I want to talk about is the relationship that the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce has with Pinellas County Economic Development, more specifically the ESP program. I think you all are aware of what we reported last year, that the chamber played an important role in Harrods Properties receiving a $1 million grant for the development of their Harrods property that they had. We recently met with Santo from OL Products. As you know, they're right there on Tampa Road. And they are building a, building, how big is it? 5,000 square feet, something like that, I believe, up on Racetrack Road. And I met with Santo at one of our networking events, and the mayor and I and the city manager went and met with them recently, and they are slated to get $1.1 million. And again, that is a direct business assistant as part of the Chamber of Commerce. More recently, I met with Microlumen, Robin Reynolds. I don't know if you know, but they bought the United Healthcare building. What is it? I think it's like just over 100,000 square feet. So we met with the economic development team, Scott Talcott and Teresa, and we kind of looked at that facility to see if there might be an opportunity to help them similarly to Harrods. And it appears that that is definitely an opportunity to do that. I believe understanding, Robin, that there's going to be a tenant that's going to move in there that's going to be manufacturing, and they're going to take a portion of it. There's also an opportunity to add an additional, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, you probably know, I believe 30,000 square feet higher.
80.
Another 80,000 square feet onto that property. Reason being is because that was a call center, which required a much larger parking ratio. And it being manufacturing, it doesn't require as much parking, so there's an opportunity to provide an additional building. So there's certainly a great opportunity to help Microlumen. There's things like, it's an older building, you know, it might need a new fire suppression system and things like that. So we're excited at the Chamber for doing that. And while we met with them, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we were in your gym. I was working out. So.
Right.
Sure.
Wow, okay. I thought the mayor said not to take shots at people. I'm not a charter official, so. But we did meet with them, and it was quite an interesting thing. We didn't plan on it. We probably didn't meet about anything, it looks like. But we talked about the Pinellas County, and there's a nonprofit that works with the schools for the STEM program. And so, oh, there it is. So we were in your gym, and one of the STEM projects that they have involves drones. And so they talked to Robin, and she agreed that it might be a great partnership to work with this organization to bring the students in to do some drone projects as part of the STEM thing. So we were excited about that. We talked about a lot of other things, but I think it was a great meeting, and we look forward to hopefully you guys getting some money. It's a lengthy process, and I'm not sure you guys even know exactly what the plan is. I know you're not moving in there for a while, but I think the dialogue is there. So I think that's great, the STEM project. And then, of course, one of the things we love to do is We Mean Business. And that's, for those that don't know, we take the city manager and the mayor, and if everybody's available, sometimes our schedules don't align, and we go to a business in Oldsmar, and we've gone everything from a pawn shop to, you know, something like Microlumen and find out about it. And even this visit that we most recently did, it's like, wow, that's pretty neat that some of these things are done, you know, right here in Oldsmar. As a matter of fact, this dais was done from a business here in Oldsmar as well, so that's kind of neat. We did 10. We've tried to do more, but for various reasons, schedule conflicts. We have businesses, of course, we try and get into manufacturing, and, you know, they're short-staffed, and it's sometimes hard, and they're burning the candle at both ends, and we wind up getting meetings canceled at the last minute. But we certainly are reaching out to as many businesses as we can. And both new ones and older ones that we haven't been to in a while. So that's exciting. Next up is one of the things that we like to do, which is nothing again. Oh, there it is our trustee meetings that we have. We did them on Zoom for a while, but we started going back and doing them in person. And I think they've been well received. We've had some great meetings, starting with our very first one that we did in person, which was with our city manager, Felicia Donnelly, and our new Congresswoman, Luna. She was great. That was well attended. Next, we had Commissioner Dave Eggers, and then we had Kurt Forrester and Whit Blanton that came. He's from Forward Pinellas. We had Senator Hooper. We had property appraiser Mike Twitty. We had County Administrator Barry Burton. And then today, it was exciting. I wish more people could have been there, but today was exciting. It was Jay Feaster from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tomorrow, they start practice. For those that don't know, Jay Feaster was the general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2004 when we won the first Stanley Cup. So that was pretty exciting. And it was also exciting for those that were there to hear about, because he and I talked about, you know, the topics, and because it's trustee/economic development, I wanted it to have an economic development component. And he talked quite extensively about Jeff Vinnick and his involvement with the Bill Gates group downtown Tampa. And I said that because of what happened yesterday with the Tampa Bay Rays and how that's going to develop. And I told him that I listened to sports radio, that Jay Retcher said something on the radio the other day, yesterday, and he said, you know, you're not, what he said, Jay Feaster said it again today, and so I got to tell Jay that I don't necessarily give him 100% credit, but he basically said, for the Lightning, you're not building a stadium, you're building a community, and there could be nothing more true than that. And one of the things that happened with that, I think, is I think their pro forma changed on that, so it was kind of interesting. I know I'm a little bit off topic, but I think it's neat to see how, you know, I think there's less importance on butts in seats as there is the whole community package. So that was an interesting economic development component to how these business models are changing. The Atlanta Braves have done the same thing up there. So that was a great thing. Again, I wish more people could have been there. We were trying to get some of the other players like Dave Anderchuk and those, but with practice starting tomorrow, they are in full Lightning mode. So I know we're going to try and do something, and John from next door was talking about trying to do something for opening day, October 10th, you know, and see what we can do at our own rink. And he did say today that they have 10 rinks in the 5-county area, and that Oldsmar is here and everybody else is here. So our rink is absolutely the best one that they have out there. So that's great. And then one of the things that we do is we hold a lot of mixers and relationship builders, educational seminars, morning mingles. We just did an evening mingle this evening before we came here, chamber city meetings that we have. So you can see we do have a lot of meetings that we do for our community, some here at the chamber and some at some of our businesses in the area. So constantly out on the road, and we do that with just Mark Howe and Joe and myself and a great board and things like that. And then finally, the things that we really like to do because it's fun is our ribbon cuttings. So we've done about 6 or 7 of them so far this year, and they've really been great. Edmonds was the one that was in the Harrods property. We've got Dr. Galloway, who moved into a new building, Bank of the OZK. And then, of course, Chuck Lager we did. You know, they're always well turned out by not only our elected officials, but our chamber members and the community. And I would just let you know that we're working really hard to reach out to the community, and we've got 8 that we have reached out to, not only once, not twice, but 3 times to try and get their ribbon cuttings. And for whatever reason, you know, we can't make the schedules work, or they just don't have the time. So we are absolutely reaching out, and we're doing that. Matt from the city gives us the business tax receipt thing every month, and it lists all the new businesses. And so we scour through it and figure out, you know, a lot of them are home businesses, so we're not going to do a ribbon cutting there. And some of them are, you know, like a flea market weekend thing that needs one. Of course, we're trying to do one with the pickleball court that is in the flea market. But for various reasons, you know, we can't get it to happen. But I just want you to know that we're definitely reaching out, because I think those are one of the feel-good things that we do, not only for the city, but for them. It's a great social media opportunity for them as well. So those are some of the highlights that we have in the BAP, and you've got the other things in there like your trustee, you know, membership and things like that. But with that, are there any questions that you might have for me, or even our board is here as well? So our board,
Any questions?
some of our board.
Doug?
And? Oh well, there was one other one, but. Okay, thank you. No questions? I appreciate it. Thank you for
Great
your time.
job. Thank you for the update. Next item is item 10, Leisure Services Advisory Board, full member appointment for Stephen Phillips. Is he here?
No.
He's not here? Okay, well then, do we want to make a motion to approve?
So moved?
A second? Second. Any other discussion on Stephen? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 11, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 11 is approved settlement agreement with Stantec Consulting Services and Keystone Retaining Wall Systems in the case of Oldsmar versus Tampa Bay Construction Engineering et al., and authorize the mayor to execute the same. You remember that in November of 2019, the city had filed a lawsuit against Tampa Bay Construction Engineering, Allied Property and Casualty Insurance Company, and Stantec Consulting Services, seeking damages as a result of the remediation work at the BMX track. We have been prosecuting that case for the last couple of years. Our senior associate, Rob Eschenfelder, has brought forth a negotiated settlement with a couple of the defendants. Those defendants that are part of this settlement agreement are Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. and Keystone Retaining Wall Systems, LLC, for the total amount of $185,000. We do have the settlement agreement, and we are recommending approval of it. Just to let you know that there are other defendants, and we are in the process of settlement negotiations with them. We believe we'll have another large one coming to the city in the next couple of weeks. That one has been settled, at least the documents reflect it's been settled for $380,000. Once we get the final paperwork done, we'll bring that to you too. But tonight, it's only on Stantec Consulting Services and Keystone Retaining Wall Systems. We're asking that you authorize settlement in the amount of $185,000.
All right, thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second, any other discussion for Tom? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tom. City Manager, item number 12, another public hearing. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Mayor. Item number 12 is a public hearing to adopt Resolution 2023-18, establishing a millage rate of 4.05 mils for fiscal year 2023-2024. On July 18, 2023, the City Council authorized the City Manager to complete the certification of taxable value indicating a proposed millage rate of 4.05 mils to the property appraiser. In August, the Pinellas County Property Appraiser mailed the truth in millage, trim notices to all property owners, advising them of the city's proposed millage rate for the upcoming fiscal year. The proposed millage rate is equal to the previous year, which was also 4.05 mils. Florida statutes requires a separate vote by the City Council for the adoption of the millage rate and a budget. The first public hearing adopted the tentative millage rate was held on Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. The second and final hearing is required to adopt the millage rate. I will read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 2023-18. A resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, setting the millage levy for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. And whereas, in accordance with the law, the Pinellas County Property Appraiser has certified that the City of Oldsmar a rolled-back millage rate of 3.7687 mils, and whereas the proposed millage rate is greater than the rolled-back rate by 7.46%. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida hereby sets the millage rate for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024 at 4.05 mils. Section 2, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak for or against this item? Okay, with that, I'm going to close the public open forum. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussions on this? Okay, all in favor signify, roll call.
Councilmember Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Buckman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-18, establishing a millage rate of 4.05 mils for fiscal year 2023-2024 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Item 13.
Item number 13, the public hearing to adopt Resolution 2023-19, establishing a budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. The proposed budget was presented to the City Council on Thursday, July 20th, 2023. The budget work session was held on Tuesday, August 8th. Florida statutes requires a separate vote by the City Council adoption of the millage rate and the budget. The first public hearing adopting the tentative budget was held on Tuesday, September 5th. The second and final hearing is required to adopt the final budget for fiscal year 23-24. I'll read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 2023-19, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting the budget appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida does hereby establish the appropriations for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024 as follows. There's a Schedule A, see attached Schedule A, pages 1 to 9. The General Fund, $18,071,055. Public Safety Impact Fund, $135,000. Parkland Dedication Fund, $10,250. Multimodal Impact Fund, $10,500. Community Redevelopment Agency Fund, $2,238,585. Debt Service for Harbor Palms, $380,110. Capital Improvement Fund, $9,957,000. Water and Sewer Operating Fund, $17,677,960. Water and Sewer Impact Fund, $94,000. Stormwater Utility Fund, $4,998,140. Solid Waste Fund, $3,225,445. Total budget appropriations, $56,798,045. Section 2, that all purchase orders for materials and services that remain open at the end of the fiscal year 22-23, are to become supplemental appropriations in the respective departmental accounts in the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, unless canceled. Section 3, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption.
Thank you very much. I need a motion to move forward.
Public hearing.
Oh, yes, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anybody wish to speak for or against this item? I will close the public hearing. Now I need a motion.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Thank you. Second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Buckman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-19, establishing a budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you very much. Item 14.
Item 14 is to approve the fiscal year 23-24 Business Assistance Program with the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. The current business assistant partnership agreement with the Upper Tampa Bay Regional Chamber of Commerce commenced on October 1st, 2022, and is set to expire September 30th, 2023. This agenda item proposed to enter into a similar agreement with the Chamber for a period of 1 year beginning October 1. The purpose of the agreement is for the Chamber to provide a business assistance partnership program and to support the City of Oldsmar in its economic development efforts. The allocated amount for this agreement is $34,000 and is included in the fiscal year 23-24 budget. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to approve.
Move.
Got 2 motions. I didn't catch who went first. Andrew?
I call first.
Okay, then how about you second? All right, you second. Any other discussion on this? No? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 15.
Item number 15, annual updates to the local mitigation strategy and community rating system program for public information. The City of Oldsmar has participated in the community rating system known as the CRS program since 1992. It's a point system program that rewards communities for floodplain management activities that exceed the minimum national flood insurance program standards, thus reducing flood insurance premium for its citizens. Oldsmar is currently at a Class 6, which may translate into a 20% discount eligibility on flood insurance premiums. To receive credits under CRS Activity 510, floodplain management planning, each municipality must create and maintain their own floodplain management plan or participate in a multi-jurisdictional plan. The local mitigation strategy was developed cooperatively with representatives from all of Pinellas County, and it qualifies as credit for a multi-jurisdictional floodplain management plan. The LMS is a unified coordinated effort to develop local initiatives to mitigate for future property damage and possible loss of life from severe storms and flooding. LMS participants meet regularly to discuss the LMS, and they prioritize local projects such as major drainage improvement projects, hardening of public structures, emergency operations, and educational outreach programs. Portions of the LMS are annually updated with mitigation project accomplishments or new projects to be added to the LMS. Additionally, every 5 years, the entire LMS goes through a major update. The most recent 5-year update was adopted by Council on September 3rd, 2020. To continue receiving credit under CRS Activity 510 for the LMS, an annual progress report must be submitted to the Council. This memo and the attachments are the City of Oldsmar's 2023 progress report for distribution to Tampa Bay area media and for availability to the public at Oldsmar City Hall, 100 State Street West, as well as notice published on the city's website and social media. The capital improvement plan for the fiscal years 2020 through 2026 is also considered part of the LMS annual report. City Council received the proposed CIP at its work session earlier this year, and it's been included in the final budgets. These documents are available by contacting the city clerk or calling 813-749-1115 or at 100 State Street West, Oldsmar, Florida. This agenda item formalizes the submission and filing of the Pinellas County Multi-Jurisdictional Community Rating System Annual Report for public information as required as part of the City of Oldsmar's participation in the CRS program. The annual report submittal to the council is also required under the activity to maintain the current CRS rating of 6 and will continue to participate in the program. During the City of Oldsmar's annual recertification, which typically takes place in March of each year, our community must submit a proof that the PPI is received and filed into the record. The floodplain management program is a step-by-step coordinated approach. The purpose in developing this is to improve communication with the citizens and to provide information about flood hazards, flood safety, flood insurance, and ways to protect your property. City's participation in these programs and the associated CRS is a requirement, and it results in significant savings to those who purchase flood insurance. The LMS and the public participation annual reports are on file at the city clerk's office. The staff recommends that the council accept these reports.
Thank you very much. That was a long one.
Yeah, could you read that again?
Yeah,
LMS, CRS,
that was a long one.
NFIP, alphabet soup.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to receive and file the annual reports.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion for Felicia, or does anybody else want to read it? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 16.
Item number 16 is to approve the special event application fee waiver request for Holiday Sharing Fund Craft Beer Festival to be held on November 4th. This is a new agenda item. The Holiday Sharing Fund is a nonprofit organization that raises monies through charitable events to provide bicycles, helmets, and locks to economically disadvantaged children living in Oldsmar. The organization proposes to host the second annual Craft Beer Festival on November 4th to take place on the grass lot on the east side of City Hall. It's anticipated to draw close to 1,200 people over the course of the day. In accordance with our special event guide, the organization is requesting that the city waive fees associated with the event in the amount of $1,000. All external costs, including utility fees of $100, will be the event organizer's responsibility. A copy of the application, staff recommends approval.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the beer festival.
So moved.
Well, go ahead, second.
I got a motion in a second?
Sure.
Any other discussion?
I have questions of the applicant, if I may.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Come on up.
As do I.
You talking about holiday sharing?
They might be
Yes.
Okay.
So,
And our partner for the beer festival is here as well.
sure. So, I kind of was curious about this when it came up last year. Whose event is this technically? Is it the Holiday Sharing Funds or Tampa Bay Brewing Companies?
It is a partnership with the Holiday Sharing Fund as the beneficiary, as a nonprofit, in partnership with Tampa Bay Brewing.
Okay, and then, the brewery is selling tickets, so is their activity considered for profit, and then that would nullify or not? It's a
No,
general
it's
question.
a fair question. Major, if you'd like to.
Just put your name for the record, please.
Major Aslin, VP and Director of Sales, Tampa Bay Brewing Company.
Thank you.
We've never made any money on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, full disclosure, we've met, I love the brewery, I have my Silo
Yes.
Society card. I have to be looking out for the citizens of
Understood.
Oldsmar and making sure that if we are to grant such a fee waiver, that we are doing it for the right reasons.
And I just want to point out, and I can't, what did you just tell me? The event will probably meet and maybe exceed the attendance that we had last year, but I think from an economic standpoint, which I think is the important part to the city, they are going to have 130 bed nights in our Oldsmar hotels, right? 130?
That's
Yeah,
correct.
Correct. So, I mean, I think that's a huge piece of this event as well, so.
Okay,
Anything
thank
else?
you for addressing that for me. No, that's all I had, Mayor.
I just want to make, did you have some? Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So last year I attended an event. It was a great event. I loved going. But after the event, I heard from residents saying they were disappointed because they showed up and they had to purchase the tickets. They weren't aware of that. And I don't know if that's a awareness thing or a marketing thing, but I'm also wondering if there's any kind of discount that could be offered to the Oldsmar residents with ID as a beneficiary, since we're basically waiving the fees here for our residents.
Yeah, we definitely have something. The walk-up people, there's a QR code. Oldsmar residents get 10% off. So, I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. And I remember, wasn't it last year, Doug, you had some kind of a VIP thing and it was sold out?
yep,
Yep, okay.
doing that this year again.
And how many tickets? Because I wanted to know, was it 100? Is it 200?
So we did like 100 early VIPs and then 100 VIPs that we could sell up to that point. We sold through those. And then again, we're sold out again at 250 this year.
Already?
Yes.
And how many brewers, just for those that are, the millions that are watching at home, how many brewers from around the country?
So we've invited 80 brewers, and we've had 75 return that request. And then part of that is we put them up in the hotel, we pay for their food and all their transportation in and around Oldsmar only. And it's part of just a service we provide, and we just do it for the community. We don't make any money on that.
I remember last year was very successful, and this is a great event for our
We
city.
don't really advertise, so this is kind of
Right.
our advertising.
I'm shocked it's sold out already, though.
Oh, the VIP is.
VIP,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Mayor.
All right, any other discussion? Anybody else have any questions? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks,
All you
Council.
guys do.
Thanks, Major.
All right, item 17.
Item number 17 is approve the special event application fee waiver request from the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce's Celebrate Oldsmar to be held November 17th through 18th. The citywide celebration takes place in RE Olds Park. It originally started in 1995 as a one-day city produced event and eventually grew into a two-day regional music, food, and beverage festival with fireworks over Labor Day weekend. This year's event is proposed to take place November 17th through 18th at RE Olds and will include live music, vendors, and food and beverages. In addition, the city will provide fireworks during the event on Saturday night, November 18th. In accordance with the special event guide, the above organization is requesting that the city waive the fees associated with the event in the amount of $3,930. All external costs, including utility fees of $540, will be on the event responsibility. A copy of the application is attached, And again, there's a $16,000 that's been approved in the fiscal year 23-24 budget for the fireworks account. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. This is one of my favorite events. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
How many minutes is the fireworks show gonna be for 16?
Yeah, do we know yet?
Just curious.
It was amazing.
9 minutes.
Flashing 9.
Chip is saying 9 minutes.
9 minutes again? Okay, last year's 9 minutes was pretty good. Just double checking.
All right, 9 minutes of
They
fireworks.
charge by the minute.
I know. I remember the debate last year.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is item 18, and our city clerk will take care of that.
Hello, item 18, discussion to consider a policy to establish a procedure for board appointments. And I have a presentation for you all, giving us a overview of our city boards. For board vacancies, right now, for all boards, alternate members have been submitted to council for reappointment. Actually, not for reappointment, but for appointment as a regular member when there is a vacancy. And regular members have been submitted to council for reappointment, basically automatically, unless they wish to not be reappointed. For all other vacancies, there's been several informal processes in place, so I will go over those now. So we'll start first with advisory boards. So the Leisure Services Advisory Board adopted their own bylaws in 2019, which does provide for an appointment process, but that has not been ratified by City Council. The Leisure Services Advisory Board interviews all applicants at a meeting, and they recommend their candidate to council, and then council appoints that person. Planning Board, so this is in City Code, and so City Code states that each member of the Planning Board shall be individually considered for appointment by council. Vacancies on the Planning Board shall be filled by appointment by the City Council not more than 45 days after such vacancy occurs. That's what's in City Code right now. And traditionally, the Planning Board has interviewed applicants and then selected the applicant whose application was submitted first. That applicant was then submitted to council for appointment. So Veterans Advisory Board, Resolution 2015-23 states that whenever a vacancy on the board shall occur, a successor shall be appointed. The resolution does not require those members to be residents, and traditionally, the Veterans Board has been interviewing their applicants as well, and then selecting one that has gone to council for appointment. So appointment of advisory board members. So traditionally, again, the Leisure Services Board and the Veterans Advisory Board have both interviewed their applicants, selected one, and then that person has gone to council to be appointed. The Planning Board has interviewed applicants, and then the person that applied first or their application was received first has gone to council for appointment. And the Advisory Board regular members have been submitted to council for reappointment, and the alternate members, when there is a vacancy, has been submitted to council for appointment as a full or regular member. There has been no council action providing authority to the advisory boards to select and recommend their own applicants to City Council for appointment. And now we go to quasi-judicial boards. So Code Enforcement Board, again, is in our city code. And this states that the membership, a majority of the membership, shall be made on the basis of experience or interest in the fields of zoning, building, and development control. Whenever possible, the board shall include an architect, a business person, an engineer, a general contractor, a subcontractor, and a realtor. Members may be reappointed by council. Appointments to fill any vacancy of a member of the board shall be for the remainder of that term. Board of Adjustment. This is also in the city's code. And so this states that no members of the Board of Adjustment shall hold any other public position or office in the government of Oldsmar. Members shall be appointed from among registered voters in position to represent the public interest. Each member of the Board of Adjustment shall be individually considered for appointment by the City Council. The board member should possess professional training or experience in planning, law, and/or development control. So appointment of the quasi-judicial boards, again, that's Code Enforcement and Board of Adjustment. Traditionally, the board application that was received first was sent to City Council for appointment. Quasi-judicial regular members have been submitted to council for reappointment, and then alternate members, when there's a vacancy, has been submitted to council for appointment as a regular member. And then we have the Firefighter Pension Board of Trustees. So this is in Florida statutes and provides for the membership of the Board of Trustees, two of whom, unless otherwise prohibited by law, must be legal residents of the city and must be appointed by the City Council. Traditionally, there's only been one applicant usually for the pension board, and that applicant has been submitted to City Council for appointment. So then we have some other policies to consider that I found when I was researching all of our boards. So one is membership prohibited on more than one board. So we do have a resolution 2029 that states that if an individual is a member of a board and applies to be, wants to become a member of another board, they can only do so if there's no other applicants for that position. There have been advisory board members that have wanted to be on other boards, but they have not been able to do so because of this policy. So I just wanted to make council aware of that. Then we have ex officio team members. So we do have the last resolution that updated this program was 2021-12. And so right now, this program is available for Planning Board, Leisure Services Advisory Board, and the Veterans Board. We currently have no teen members on our boards, and we currently have no applicants that have applied for this program. And the ages for these teens are 13 to 18, and the resolution states that it forfeits on their 18th birthday, just so that council knows that. Okay. And then we do have several attendance policies among the boards, just for council to be informed of that. So two of them do meet quarterly. That's Veterans and Leisure Services. And then we have Planning, Board of Adjustment, and Code Enforcement. Board of Adjustment and Planning meet as needed, and so does Code Enforcement. So the purpose of this is to provide transparency in our board appointment process. And so we are looking to consider have council consider a policy to establish a formal procedure for board appointments. So do you need more information, or do you have any other questions that may have risen out of this material?
Does anybody have questions for staff before we get started? Anybody have questions for Kristen? Go ahead.
I have a lot of questions, but I'm not sure that I want Kristen to attempt to answer them right now.
Okay.
They're more like questions for us to think about. Does
Okay.
that make sense,
Yep,
Mayor?
mhm.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for that PowerPoint. All right, so this hasn't been done. As you can see, there's a lot of mixed views of what's going on. So we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to start out by saying a couple things that I want to bring to the table. I really like the way the Veterans and the Leisure Services Division does it, where the board members actually interview the applicants, and then it comes to us. I would like to make that standard for all the boards. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the membership of the teens. I wanted to change that from 13 to 19. And then if they want to stay, if those members want to stay, they can stay, not remove them. I wanted to bring that up because I'm looking for people that want to get involved in our boards and continue to serve our city. And then the membership on the boards, the membership prohibited on one more than one board. I would like to allow, if there's citizens that want to be on more boards than just one, I would think we should allow that too. And that's some of my ideas. Is there anybody else who would like to speak or have some ideas they would like to see changed? Katie, would you like to go? Councilmember Janet?
Well, thank you, Mayor. As I mentioned, I had some questions really, and as I started to write my list of questions and reviewed this very extensive memo, by the way, thank you very much for the PowerPoint presentation and for the extensive memo, Madam Clerk. And thank you to all of our current board members who are serving. You know, we have done this informal process for a while, and I do think that it's important that we formalize this procedure so that there's some transparency for our residents for how do you get on these boards and what are the requirements and why do some people have applications on file or where are these you know, it's kind of like, it's confusing, I think, and it's, I think that it's important that there's some alignment, at least among the advisory boards, and then alignment among the quasi-judicial boards. But I had questions for Tom, not right this minute, about, you know, whether it's important to, or if our code would permit us to align the quasi-judicial attendance policies, termination, or the length of the term, that kind of thing, or what that would entail, like amendments to the code, that kind of thing. And then for the advisory boards, I mean, Leisure Services has bylaws. Would the other ones need to adopt bylaws to create their official attendance policies and termination policies? And so I started to make this kind of list, and I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the W word. Yeah, it's the workshop word. Just because I had a lot of questions, and while we have a lot of research already, it felt like there was still more information that I needed in order to figure out what I wanted. Because what I want is transparency, but how to get there, I wasn't really sure. And I wanted to make sure that I'm not recommending anything that goes against the code first, and as it stands. And then I thought maybe there's a way to deal with one board at a time, or maybe deal with one issue at a time, if it's attendance or terms or, you know, team members, termination, you know, because we're not in a hurry to do anything, but I do think it's important to create some uniformity in these boards. Then again, I thought to myself, well, perhaps Tom might make a recommendation that they should not all be the same, and for good reason, which is established either by our code or Florida statute. So those were some of the things that I was thinking of. Mayor, you brought up some interesting questions and points as well. So that was why I intended to say the W word, the workshop word, to see if that's something that we could discuss.
All right, Andrew, you want some comments?
Just a couple things, sure. So to add on to that, some other things that were either in the content of the memo or thoughts that I had was not only about transparency, but there's probably some opportunity for uniformity that may streamline the process of how do we try to get candidates or applicants for these boards and get them through to the point of being seen before a board, if that's the way we want to do it across every one of these committees. In addition, it's like we know it was highlighted in there that there are some preferred qualifications or requirements that may or may not be asked about or highlighted when people do apply to serve on any of these boards. So I get the point of having a uniform application. That makes it super simple and easy for the clerk's office to process, but should there be one specific to each of the boards so that then you can dig a little bit more, get a little bit more information so that, well, if it's only one, then you, at least going into the meeting, the people that are already members of the board know who they're meeting versus something that's a little bit more generic in terms of the content of questions that are asked. So I'm in agreement that I think a workshop and probably in advance of that being able to formulate some questions both to our city attorney and the clerk as far as where do we see certain restrictions, pitfalls, versus, you know, doing all that prep work ahead of time so we can have a real functional meeting instead of trying to do all that legwork in the meeting. You know, we have more content to digest and come there kind of with a plan, or at least what each of us think as far as what do we want to accomplish? You know, should we rank as far as tackling different policies that are universal versus getting into the nitty-gritty of adjustments to each of the individual
All right.
groups? So there's a fair amount of things to do, but I think it will be worthwhile to pursue.
All right. Steve, Jared?
I mean, I agree. I mean, just with what you brought up, Mayor, saying the ex officio team members, if they want to stay, does that mean there has to be a vacancy? Or do they just automatically become the third alternate member if there's two alternate members? Just things like that would need to be ironed out. And then, you know, I didn't know it was their 18th birthday, so it's not really 13 to 18. It's 13 to 17 in 364 days. And so they're still teenagers in my mind. You know, so is it to the 20th birthday? I don't know how much interest we'd get, but right now they're all vacant, but just things along that nature. And I know also the question that we're going to have to consider is, can you serve on more than one? Because I know I got shot down by the clerk's office when I asked if I could before
Me
I was
too.
on council. Did you? But then that doesn't include ordinance review committees or the ad hoc committee, the charter review committees, the public arts, and we have a committee for that as well. So those sorts of things. That's currently not prohibited, but I don't know if it's codified anywhere either. But while we make the procedures, I think we also want to keep in mind, and it's just something for when we have the dreaded W word, it can't be onerous on the citizens. You don't be like, man, I've got to do 15,000 things to get, you know, all I did was raise my hand and want to sit on the board. So just, maybe there's technicalities, but making it as simple a process as possible, however, explaining it in such a manner where, hey, we've accepted your application, this is the process, you know, we need you to go through, please call the clerk's office, we're happy to walk you through it, that sort of thing. But I'm in agreement, we need more time than tonight's meeting would allow in order to really nail down what we're trying to do.
Jared?
Kind of thought the workshop word was coming, so I kind of was planning on that when I saw this on the agenda. Thank you, Kristen, for putting this together. It's wonderful. To me, when I looked at this, and I look at this from a process standpoint and say, how do we bring citizens on board to these boards? How do we run the boards? And I started thinking more and more, and as I got higher and higher and started looking at the 30,000-foot view, and I'm not trying to sound egotistical here, but we're the elected officials. We should be the ones appointing to these boards. These boards should not be self-selecting then sending to us. I think that leads to, oh, I'll bring a friend on board, I'll bring this on board, and I think we should be controlling that process. And it's not an egotistical thing, it's just, we oversee the charter, we oversee the ordinances here. I think it's our duty and responsibility to make sure we're putting the right people on those boards. So we'll talk more at another workshop.
All right, I kind of agree with everybody that we need a workshop, but I wanted to give you my points of view, because that's how I was talking to Felicia today about them, and I wanted to just share those with you. But I do agree that we need a workshop, and at the meeting, I asked Kristen, did you get that count for me of the applicants, of how many we currently have right now, and how many for what boards?
So we have, I believe, I have it right here. Do you want it now or just
Yeah,
later?
would you mind just sharing with the council, please?
So it looks like on our rosters, applications on file, and again, I don't know how long these have been on file, because we've been keeping them basically indefinitely. So we have 7 right here for leisure services. Maybe 12 or so for the planning.
Nice.
We have 5 for Veterans Board, 2 for Board of Adjustment, 7 for Code, and none for the fire.
Thank
But
you.
again, I don't know how long we've had those applications.
Thank you very much for that. All right, so then I think we're gonna move forward, and we need to pick a date for the workshop, so we can add that to our tentative agenda for next week.
Consensus to select a date for a work session.
We all agree to that?
We
You all
should
okay?
add that to the agenda to select the date.
All right. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Next item on our agenda is the authorized, that's City Council Felicia Donnelly, it's your item.
All right.
Thank you, City Manager.
So item 19 is to authorize the city attorney to draft a resolution to become a member of the American Flood Coalition. While at the Florida League of Cities Conference, the American Flood Coalition reached out to the mayor for the city to consider membership. And so there's attached reference materials and a sample resolution. City staff has contacted the American Flood Coalition to confirm there's no membership cost and that little staff is required, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
A second? Any other discussion on becoming a member of the American Flood Coalition? There's no cost. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is item 20, and I would like to just start out by making a quick statement. I just want the city council to understand that I can't afford my own attorney. I just want to mention that to you. I've reviewed this with our legal attorney, Tom, and my current attorney, and I have to not comment on this item. So I am going to remove myself, and I'm going to have the vice mayor handle this item. And I'm going to step away while you discuss, and Vice Mayor, I want you to take care of it for me. And then I will come back to handle item 21, the council comments, and item 22.
Sounds good.
Pass the gavel down.
Thank you. Alrighty, so, since our last council meeting, a new lawsuit had been filed against the mayor. And before I continue, Tom, if at any point in time you hear anything that you think I may be going off that may put other litigation that's out there in jeopardy, please feel free to stop me.
Okay, all right, will do.
Because I may draw some parallels to other stuff that's out there.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. It gives me no joy to have to bring this up and discuss it. But there's litigation alleging that the mayor violated public records laws, deleting a public record. When we had other litigation that's out there talking about defending members of this council and former members of this council, Tom Trask and his firm provided a memorandum discussing why legal fees should be covered through the city or by the city. I wanted to just read a few excerpts from that memo. It was a memorandum dated February 1st, 2023.
Okay, hang on a second. That, I don't believe that is a public record.
Okay.
And so my advice to you is that I don't want to open the door of it becoming a public record because it is currently exempt under the public records law. So I would not be reading directly from that.
I believe it was attached in the agenda item, though, if we pull up the packet from the website. Do we want to confirm that first, or?
Okay, I don't know if it was in the agenda packet, it is a public record.
Okay.
Okay?
Can we confirm that first then before I proceed?
Do you have your,
I have the app, so would that suffice?
yeah, it pulls up historic.
Because that was back for February.
It might have been on,
And if it's not, then I can paraphrase from that. Give me a moment, gotta set the filter. Year, done. This is maybe the February 7th meeting, I believe. So if I load the agenda. Item 7, consider reimbursement for former Mayor Seidel for reimbursement and or payment of attorney's fees. If I click on that agenda item report. And again, it may be different from what's online versus what's in the agenda notes app, so please give me a moment. I don't want to take too long, though.
I have it up as well for the February 7th, 2023 meeting.
Correct.
And there is a memorandum dated February 1st attached.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a public record then? It has already been published?
Okay.
So
You
feel
good?
free to talk about that then, yes. Okay.
Tom.
Cool.
And I'm just going to read some elements of it. Talking about basically getting into the analysis of when any of the members of this body would be subject to be covered by, whether it be our own city attorney's firm or any other firm for that matter, but covering the costs of it. Talks about Florida courts have long recognized a common law doctrine of affording public officials the right to legal representation at public expense in defending themselves against litigation and other proceedings arising out of their public duties and while serving a public purpose. This entitlement arises independently from the authority of any statute, ordinance, or charter. See Thornburr versus City of Fort Walton Beach, Markham versus Department of Revenue, or Ellison versus Reed, or LaMelo versus City of Sunrise. And a quote from that final case there: these cases establish that a municipal, corporation, or other public body is obligated to furnish or pay fees for counsel to defend a public official subjected to attack either in civil or criminal proceedings where the conduct complained of arises out of or in connection with the performance of their official duties. A restatement of this doctrine is found in Malloy v. Board of County Commissioners of Leon County, which was in the Florida 1st District Court of Appeals in 2007. There, the first DCA examined the origins of the doctrine and analyzed a series of cases applying the doctrine. The court further iterated that public officials seeking defense or reimbursement for attorney's fees must meet the two-pronged test of, number one, the matter at issue must arise out of or be in connection with the performance of their official duties, and number two, such performance of duties serves a public purpose. Further along in the memo, it says uncertainty of the Thornburr test, which is those two items that I just previously read, compels caution but does not prohibit a governmental entity from engaging in its analysis upon receipt of a claim or lawsuit or at any time during a proceeding which might result in its application. This is so because the rule, quote, the rule of its rationale apply as well as prepayment and postpayment, end quote. Malloy suggests that emphasis should be placed on the tenor of the conduct and the context of the allegations. Of course, facts can and do change as proceedings progress, and no court has ever prescribed or placed a limitation on when an official's conduct should be assessed for the purposes of paying or reimbursing fees. So, there are situations where a municipality might refrain from providing representation at the outset or at some point and then assess the right to defense later in the proceeding or when the matter is resolved, at which point reimbursement may be offered. Likewise, there are situations where such representation may be provided at the outset if the required elements are satisfied. Then following down to the conclusion, public officials who are sued seeking damages can be defended by a municipality except where the limited, quote, bad faith exception applies. Public officials and employees who are sued or subject to administrative proceedings not seeking damages have historically received a level of protection with application of the common law doctrine for the mandatory payment of defense costs and attorney's fees associated with their defense, provided the two-pronged test announced by Thornburr is satisfied. So that is kind of the contents of the memo, and that was kind of the primary reason of requesting to have this item added to the agenda, was to discuss that test as it relates to the current lawsuit filed by former Mayor Seidel against current Mayor Siraki. As I commented on in a prior meeting about the potential or litigation that ultimately came to be. I worried about how far down the rabbit hole does this whole saga go, right? It doesn't appear to be ending. I wish it would, and I'm sure everybody sitting in this room wishes it would, because it's really doing nobody any good. In the end, the people that win out the most are the lawyers that are involved in the suits, right? Who's the big loser? The citizens, us included as citizens, right? It's our tax dollars going to litigation. Valid or not, I mean, it doesn't matter. That's for the courts to decide whether litigation is valid or not. So I wanted to kind of get that off my chest. So as far as the two-part test goes, and Tom and I have had some discussions about this, I still can't wrap my head around whether it is or isn't satisfied, because it's for me, I always think of a frame of reference, or how do you look at it? Is it that providing a public record is part of your official duty? Or is it texting somebody back and forth regardless of the content of the relationship is or isn't part of the public duty? It's like, how do you frame it to where the test may or may not be met? I can't, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I still am not certain one way or another, to be honest. As it relates to the firm that's currently representing the mayor solely now, because the city essentially at this point has been notified that they were not part of a lawsuit. There was a motion issued on behalf of the mayor as recent as yesterday or Monday. I don't recall exactly. It's been sort of a blur. And in part of that motion, I have some concerns about what is claimed. And I don't know if it was a mistake or not, and mistakes happen, me included, making mistakes. That's okay, as long as you own up to them. But there's a statement in there that says, alleged, on page 25 of the motion, alleged 2021 events and occurrences that gave rise to the McDonald action. Saraki was not a public official. He was a private citizen in 2021. And I have I'm pretty sure all of us would agree that that statement is not true. The mayor was not the mayor in 2021, or at least the early part of 2021, but he was on council. So I kind of have a problem where even if we were to continue being okay with covering the mayor's expenses to defend himself, that I don't know if we have the right lawyer to do that, and that's just my personal opinion, because that's seems to be a misstep there. I think that's all I have at this time, so I don't know if there is anyone else that wishes to opine or not. Again, like I said, I'm not certain as to if that test is met. I could see it both ways. Try to look at it from every different angle, and it's not easy. It's not something I take pleasure in having to do versus raise my family and go to work and support, do good things for the city. But now all of us got to rack our brains around this. I know prior motions have been made to address the same issue, and that's where things are at right now. Doesn't give me a great feeling at all, and I've probably said that before. And I'd like to be done and over with it, but I can't make that happen single-handedly, and we collectively as a body can't make that happen single-handedly. So I will turn it over to anyone else that may wish to discuss or entertain a motion, because I guess now that as I'm functioning as the chair, I can't make my own motion, so. Is that true, Tom? Okay. Councilmember,
I think Katie was first.
go ahead.
My comments will be brief. I have previously attempted to address this issue. The Thornburg test for me is framed by the pleadings. And the pleading in this case, the complaint, indicates to me that as to factor one, the deletion of a public record could never be part of the performance of the official duties of the mayor, and the deletion of a public record serves no public purpose. I have the same sentiment, and at the same time, though, we are all tasked to sit up here and with the information that we have, make the best decisions that we can on behalf of the citizens. I also had the opportunity to read the 41-page motion to dismiss that was filed by council on behalf of Mayor Siraki. Pages 19 to 26 detail a defense that the slide, a PowerPoint slide at issue, is not a public record at all, which to me further takes this outside of the context of an issue that the city has any ability to defend. So first, the allegations frame the pleadings. The Thornburg factors, to me and my analysis, are not met. And in addition, the defense, the responsive pleading that has been filed to date indicates that there's grounds to believe that it's not a public record in the first place. So my motion would be to discontinue payment of the mayor's legal fees for the defense of the litigation brought by Mayor Seidel against Mayor Siraki.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now further discussion. Do you have any further discussion for now?
Not right now, but perhaps.
All right, Councilmember Buckman?
So when I look at this, and it's a challenging question, and I was not on council at this point in time, but my question is, was the Thornburg test applied in the original case, McDonald versus the council? And the reason why I ask that case is because it's about precedent that we're setting here. And my concern is we have multiple pressures now in our city that I fear the more and more we keep going down these paths and having these conversations, the more and more we're putting our city at risk. And what I mean by that is, number one, who really wants to run with council right now and be a part of this and be potentially sued? To the whole Form 6 issue, which we all are aware of with that issue going on. But it's who wants to be on this council going forward if we don't sit here and say, we've set a precedent, we never applied Thornburg tests to prior cases that I can recall. I was not here. I was here for the McDonald case. I don't remember any discussions around if we were paying for other people's attorney's fees during that process. I know that I asked to stay at arm's length from that case to be kind of, as not to show any kind of impropriety, but when it comes down to discussing city funds to pay for legal fees, I think I should have been part of those discussions. I was not. And I think we've set the precedent that, hey, we are not here to litigate the case. We are not here to make a decision in our heads whether someone violated the law or not. There's an allegation, there's a case. We have paid for allegations in the past. We have paid for allegations with current and former mayors. or excuse me, with the former mayor. And I think if we break that precedent, there's bigger implications that are coming down the road. Somebody wants to come be on this council and wants to run for an election and says, well, what happens when I break the law? What happens when I'm there? We've all been there the first couple months, breathing from a fire hose and just absorbing so much information. What if you make a mistake on the dais? What happens if something happens that I make a mistake and now you're like, well, we're going to do a Thornburg test to figure out if we should defend you or not and figure out if we're going to pay your court costs. Who wants to come and be on that council and take that risk? So I think there's a bigger question here around that in talking about, we've already set the precedent. It's already been there. We never applied Thornburg tests in the past that I can recall. We're applying it here for some reason. It's not our duty to adjudicate this case and figure out whether or not any of the accused violated the law. That is up for a judge and jury, and I'm not an attorney, so I don't know how that process works, but I don't think we should break that precedent. And it's a fear of what happens in 3 years when nobody wants to run for this council. These lawsuits are tearing this community apart. I said it back in February, find a way to settle this thing. Maybe it was misconstrued that I was telling there's an offer of a settlement. That was not what I was saying. We need to find a way to get out of these things. How do we get out of this? How do we sit down to the big people in the room and go, Mr. Eric, what do you want? Mr. McDonald, what do you want? Where are those conversations happening? And why can't we end this thing in the next 30 days and just be done and let's move on? We are not able to focus on the business at hand, things that are going on and things we want to do because this thing is taking so much out of the room. I've been tired of it since 7:10 p.m. on the 15th when I got elected, knowing that I'm going to have to deal with this because that lawsuit was filed the day beforehand. I know you guys have been under your own personal pressures, but I believe we've set a precedent and we can't break that because it's going to hurt this city in the future years. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Graber.
The memo addressed the Thornburg test, right? I don't have it in front of me.
It did, and it was dated February 1st of this year.
And so
So that was before the meeting at which a determination was made of whether to not cover outside counsel's legal expenses of Mayor Saito.
And the reasoning behind that was to allow council to consider the Thornburg test, if I'm not mistaken, correct, Tom? Consider the contents of the memo.
That was what the memo basically was focused on, and then it gave some options before the conclusion.
Okay.
Do you want to see that?
Oh, no, thank you. I just wanted to be clear. So this is extremely difficult for me because I've gotten to know Mayor Seidel and Mayor Saraki so well since being appointed to board, since I started showing up. And they've both been very gracious to me, mentors to me, friends of mine. They're suing each other. I mean, it's just, it's unfortunate. And so I just, the first time we discussed this, when we first got the letter, I want to say it was back in May, is that right, Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
And so I was comfortable moving forward then because the city was mentioned in that letter to see if they had complied with the public records request. Then the second time we discussed it, the point I was trying to make was allegations contained within a complaint would determine whether or not a defense obligation would be triggered, right? And so we had a letter, and then the next letter was, hey, I'm going to sue you, right? But there was no lawsuit, and so that's the only point I was trying to make. The complaint's been filed. The motion to dismiss has been filed. The complaint says what it does, but we've been through that memo. I believe we were all on council on February 1st. And
With the exception of, or no, well, yeah,
yeah, you were on council?
Yeah.
Yep.
sorry.
And it's also my understanding it's pre-cost or post-cost. And so the complaint says what it says. I think, or Vice Mayor Knapp, you articulated those points. Councilmember Gannon, so did you, that I noticed the same thing. Yes, he was a public official in 2021 because he was on council. Same way we are now. But I'm ready to proceed with the vote. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any?
Just one last comment, that when we all voted to, on that agenda item, we determined that the Thornburg factors were met as to former Mayor Seidel for the allegations in the McDonald complaint, and approved that. We approved additional fees tonight. Without addressing the allegations in the McDonald complaint, it's logical to assume that that analysis was likewise performed in determining whether or not to afford the defense for the remaining defendants, ourselves included. To me, the difference is the scheduling of a public meeting or voting. Those actions were performed in the scope of our official duties. The holding of a meeting, whether valid or not, was in the scope of our official duties and served a public purpose. That, to me, is the distinction. That's all I have.
Okay. Okay, so we've had discussion. I have a roll call vote.
Vice Mayor, just for recollection, there's been a lot discussed here. Can we restate the motion one more
Yes,
time?
would you please restate your motion?
It may not be verbatim, but essentially the motion is to discontinue the city's payment of Mayor Siraki's defense in the litigation brought by Mayor Seidel against Mayor Siraki.
And we have a second by Councilmember Graber. Just the one final thing, a comment before we do the roll call vote that I would like to just reiterate one final time. Going back to the memo, I'll read it again. Please forgive me. About payment, whether it be prepayment or post-payment. So regardless of the outcome of what is about to be decided upon, that by no means sets things in stone or handcuffs this council to change action in the future.
That's
Agreed? Okay. So with that, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Buckman,
No.
Vice Mayor Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
All right. The reading of the votes, 3 votes for and 1 opposed.
yes.
Mayor Siraki abstaining.
Mayor Siraki abstaining. All right, that concludes agenda item number 20. Mayor Siraki, you may have the gavel back. I will turn it back over to you.
All right, next item is council comments, and Councilmember Graber, you're up. All right, then we got Councilmember Gannon.
Comments, Mayor, thank you.
Councilmember Jared Buckman.
Just one thing, Mayor. Attended a Fort Pinellas board meeting recently, and I was asked to be an alternate for the MPOAC conference meetings that are held in Orlando 4 times a year by Commissioner Eggers. And I've been appointed to that position to represent Fort Pinellas.
Congratulations.
And that's it.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Just a couple of things. While, since the last council meeting, was able to travel and got so lucky as to meet our new niece that was born while we were traveling. So I just wanted to extend a hearty congratulations to my sister-in-law and her husband and their new little baby Hazel, who was born on her best friend's, or the day after her best friend's wedding day. She didn't attend because she was expecting a baby anytime, and the baby apparently wanted to attend the wedding as well. And then just one final thing, again, Deputy Martinez, thank you for your service. Thank you for the rest of your team's service. It's priceless. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is approved tentative agenda for the October 3rd, 2023. And I believe, Kristen, you'd like to add something?
Yes, so first I would like to amend cancel regular council meeting for December 20th, 2023. I want to amend that date to November 21st, 2023.
Okay?
And then also add scheduling a work session to consider a procedure for board appointments.
All right, thank you. And then Felicia, you want to add something?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to add two things for consideration. The first is, I was notified that a council member cannot attend the October 18th council visioning work session. So I'd like to add to reschedule that council visioning work session to the next agenda. And then the second one is to add a public hearing for the city for an inventory list of city-owned land available for affordable housing consistent with the Live Local Act.
Okay. Anybody else wish to add anything else or take anything out? All right. I need a motion to amend.
Motion to approve the amended tentative
As
agenda.
amended,
As
yes.
amended. Anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve the tentative agenda as verbally amended.
Second? Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.